So I was going to talk about the Timothy story. Not Timothy. Thomas. Good thing I'm not talking about it. I was going to talk about how Thomas, didn't believe that Jesus was resurrected. And I was going to talk about, doubt in, your spiritual and faith walk. Because I feel like I have a lot of that. But I just, me thinking about that made me remember that the reason why it took me so long to get to the point where I was is because I didn't relate to people when they started talking about biblical stuff until I learned something about them. So I thought it'd be kind of hypocritical of me to be yeah, listen to what I have to say unless you don't know where I came from and where I think I'm going and all that. So rewind a few years in my life and I'm going to just talk about how I came to Christ and all that. So I'm not from here.
What?
Yep.
Aren't
Shocker.
you from Texas?
Yes, I am from Texas.
Sweden.
No.
Just I don't.
Yeah.
You're also not from here. I'm not from here.
Regardless, I believe there is a general consensus from people.
Everyone but you three are from here.
Yeah.
Not
Everybody
from here.
but yes.
We are the only
me,
three
I'm
from
from
here.
here.
Not the odd one out.
It's hard to see you from this angle. I'm gonna sit here.
Oh, perfect.
How dare you?
I can see you better now.
The seat is for Eli, just like you said, Ben.
Fine, whatever. Yeah.
Are you also a prophet?
Now I know what it's like to be you when we all start
Everybody
talking and go on tangents. All right.
This happens a lot. You'll get used to it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Okay, so I was born and raised in Texas. Texas is very different from Oklahoma. They are a lot more secular, and so was I. From the age 3 to 8, my family didn't go to church because we had a few bad experiences. We moved, first of all. I grew up in Bedford, I was born in Bedford, and then we moved to Keller. So in that transition period, we didn't go to church because we didn't have a local one to go to. And it wasn't until one of my dad's business partners invited him to go to this church called White's Chapel. Not Wides, with white, as in the color. White's Chapel. And that was in Salt Lake. Not Salt Lake City, but just Salt Lake. Which is if you're in Texas, it's where all the rich people are.
So, to be clear, I don't want to, presume racism.
Yeah, no.
Is it a person whose name is John White?
Yeah, his name was it's not white people only.
Yeah.
I know Texas is racist, but we're not that racist.
So it was the name.
It was the name, not the race.
Gotcha. Good.
No, we got that down.
Is it Salt Lake, Texas?
Yeah, Salt Lake, Texas.
Okay. I didn't know
Yeah,
about
it's
that.
not Salt Lake City, it's just Salt
I
Lake.
thought it was just Salt
Yeah.
Lake. Salt
I
Lake.
think I'm mishearing this. Yeah.
But it was just weird because Keller is kind of like the Bixby of Texas, or Keller was like the Bixby of Texas. It's just middle class, nice, nothing too weird happens. And we were going to a church that was Tulsa times 5. I remember every Christmas they would buy a 30-foot tree and put it out front of the church and decorate it. Just money, money, money everywhere. I remember the year we left for Oklahoma, they bought this $3 million fountain, and they put it up, and it was I don't remember the name of the statue, but it was the one where Jesus' arms are down, he's looking down, that famous one. Is a recreation of that.
He was crucified on the cross.
No, not the crucifix, but
Is that Jesus or is that the prodigal? The father of the prodigal son?
I think it might be that. I don't know.
I don't
I'll have to look
That's
it up.
okay.
The original's in the Mormon Tabernacle. I know that. But anyway, that's my upbringing is just physical over the spiritual. So because of that disconnect, I didn't believe anything. I was an atheist my whole life, and I only went to appease my parents. I remember one Sunday, they had this 5th and 6th grade class that was just they did skits, and then they did a lesson, and then they did more skits. It was just very superficial, nothing intelligible that I wanted, that I was craving. So I remember I just sat in the bathroom the whole time. I wanted to leave, and I did. It was an hour class, and I left 30 minutes in to just sit outside my parents' Sunday school class, and I got caught. and dragged back. And then my parents found out. It wasn't fun. But yeah, I just didn't believe it because I saw all these people who were like, yeah, superficial stuff. We don't actually believe any of this, which, I don't know. It just kind of put me off to it for the longest time. And I think it all came to a head at 2 points. The first one was when I had my first oral mouth surgery. I had like 2 rows of teeth that looked like a shark. My surgeon actually went to that church. He said I had the worst mouth he'd ever seen. Made me feel good.
It's quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, I had like 2 tumors in there as well. I had 2 tumors, 3 extra teeth, and my baby teeth fused to my adult teeth. I have the x-ray somewhere, but regardless. He left me bleeding on the operating table. And my face swelled twice as big as it should have. And he just kind of left me there. And I woke up in like super pain. And he really didn't care because he had like a 3 o'clock appointment he had to be to. And I remember my mom was like sitting next to me crying. And a nurse came in. He was like, "Oh, crap." Like seeing me like bleeding and throwing up blood. So that didn't help either. And then my dad decided to quit Chase, which is where he was working, and moved to Bank of Oklahoma. So we knew we were going to be leaving for a while. So I was like, just going, not really talking to anyone because I knew I didn't want to like sever any relationships or anything like that. So I remember just going to that final like 9th grade like meeting. It's similar to what you guys do, but not really. It was more, let's talk about our feelings or whatever. And yeah. And there was this one girl. Like it was like we usually like segregate based on genders, but for this one we like merged the classes, and there was this one girl who just wouldn't shut up. And I just finally said, "This isn't what I want to be." And I just like that day on, nope. I'm not going to believe any of it, regardless of what people say to me. Which is ironic, because I moved to the Bible Belt, and the first thing anyone like ever asked me was like, "What church are you going to?" I'm like, "None." Crazy person. I'm not going to your whatever you call it.
Hoedown. Hoedown.
Yeah, I'm not going to your hoedown.
I'm from here. It's not
Yeah.
hoedown.
And like moving also didn't help because I didn't have any like friends for a good year. So I started to recluse and like get on the internet more. And that's when I discovered the thing that firmly solidified my atheism at the time, which was ironically a Bible study. But it was an atheist Bible study. And they went through each and every book and deconstructed and said, "This is why this is dumb." And I'm like, yeah, doesn't make sense, but I agree. Like, I don't know. It was just like weird stuff. They talked about Pokemon half the time. And I'm just like, yeah, atheism's cool. I like it. And I was just like really antisocial for the longest time. Until about sophomore year, which is when I was finally allowed to rejoin the drama club, or drama team, because moving from Texas to Oklahoma, they wouldn't like let my credits transfer. And they like wouldn't give me the drama class I wanted. So I finally got to be in drama class, and that's when I met my best friend ever, Garrett. What? Please share with the class.
You let me down.
Oh.
What?
Anyway, I met my friend Garrett, who was a very open Baptist, which I found annoying at first. Like every chance he would get, he'd be like, "Hey, what church are you going to?" I'm like, "None. You already know that." And we would like talk about philosophy every once in a while. Mostly we would say inappropriate jokes to each other because we were sophomores. But yeah. And like this is around the time my parents were like really getting into the divorce. Because my parents, well, my dad more. As soon as he like got up here, he was like, "Bye," which that felt really nice. Moving across states for him to be just like, "Yeah, see ya." So that also took a bit of a toll on me. So I didn't really have anything to do on like Wednesday nights, and my mom was just going crazy because of the divorce, just like slowly like deteriorating because of it. So it was driving me crazy. It was driving everyone around me crazy. I was being like a loudmouth brat. You know that. You were there.
I liked you. I liked you from the start.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess not. Everyone liked.
else. Everyone else.
I'm
Yeah.
easily.
Everyone liked me.
I'm pretty easily pleased.
Okay.
Listen.
Oh, I know
They
this
didn't
story.
like
That's
you.
funny.
Yeah.
Since you didn't like
Well, regardless, I was annoying to everyone except for Jonathan.
I knew you.
Thanks,
I didn't-
buddy.
I didn't think you were annoying.
Really?
I knew you, yeah.
How many people knew me?
You didn't know him when you were
Editing
gone.
the story.
Huh?
You're just
No,
like, everyone
no.
liked me.
I knew him as a sophomore because I was a senior at the time.
Really?
Yeah, like I saw you walk across, and I would talk. I thought I talked to you a couple times. Either way, I liked you. You seemed nice.
Now I feel like a jerk. Even
Wow.
more of a jerk.
Well,
Jeez.
you're a lovable jerk, Harrison, and I'm glad I have you. in my
Everybody
life.
liked me.
Yeah, Ben even liked you.
I did.
Wait, what? You were there too?
No, like that's
What the heck? Is this an intervention?
No, okay, but seriously, I did know of you, and I met you in the hallway a couple times, and I really did like you. I think.
Okay. Well, maybe that's when Garrett finally got a hold of me and started dragging me to Crossroads. Because I was about to say, I was making excuses not to go, like, my mom won't let me, and then finally he was like, just let me and my dad drive you to Crossroads, and I'm like, fine, do that, and I finally did, and I went there, and that's when I met the person who actually converted me, and his name is Jason Lee, and yes, he is descendant from Robert E. Lee, don't worry about it. He's not racist like the White's Chapel people, just kidding. Funny joke.
I got it. I thought it was funny.
But he has like a really unique approach to like just teaching that kind of threw me off, because at that point I was just like, this is weird. There is no Sky Daddy granting magical wishes sprinkling down through rain. And he was like, logic, because he actually got converted the same way he converted me, which was through like logical reasoning, because he was his youth pastor was what's the word I'm looking for? Apologetic. He was an apologist.
What's that?
It's someone who.
Says sorry.
I'm glad you asked that. No, it's not a Canadian. It is.
Sorry.
It is someone who fervently defends something at the risk of being offensive to someone. So a biblical apologist is someone who's like, no, this is real, and I'm going to explain to you why, even if it might like.
You're wrong.
Y-
And this is why.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, but in a more polite and loving way.
The study of apologetics is you want to get to the root of what you believe and why, and like what the Bible, the foundational values of the Bible. So if you're taking an apologetics course, it'll be like, well, this is why Jesus died. This is why it made the way for everyone to be saved. This is why Adam had to sin. This is whatever. Like it goes through more or less the logic of how the Bible flows.
And then it
The
also.
solid things rather than the fluid up for interpretation things.
So it's not someone who says sorry all the time.
One of my friends took it, and it was like the first day. They were like, write down everything you believe, and the teacher like went through and he was tearing people's like beliefs apart. And he was like, oh, you just believe this because someone told you. This is probably from Sunday school. And then he was like, now here's why we'll actually believe stuff. And he started like building them back up, but on actual logic and actual hardcore
Yeah.
So that's an apology.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
And like also like bring in sometimes outside sources to prove that this is real, like the testimony of Polytheus. Polymaths?
Polytheist?
Do you mean someone who marries a lot of people, or someone who believes in a lot of gods?
Neither.
It's not like you were getting both words. In
It was like
Oh, that was
it was a Jewish atheist historian who was alive during Jesus' time, and he
I
said,
know who you're talking about, but that was not even
Yeah.
close to his name.
I know, I get his name wrong every single time, but he wrote down accounts of like Jesus doing like these historical like things that sometimes made the Bible, sometimes didn't, and it, like proved that hey,
Sometimes made the Bible.
yeah, well, you know,
Meaning like they were in the Bible, some things
No,
weren't
it
in
was
the
just-
Bible.
yeah,
A funny,
like-
funny idea to picture
Anyway,
a
Yeah.
bar that things that
Jesus is
the
like, this
occurrences
makes
that
it.
happened.
No
was,
Bible.
did they
Bible.
make it?
Yeah.
Did they make it to the Bible?
oh yeah,
Not good enough.
like he only turned some of this water into wine.
That wine, that
Yeah.
water wine
It'll go
didn't
up
make
to
it
the
in the
judges
Bible.
Yeah.
on that one.
But like just making sure that hey, no, this guy at least existed, so you have to at least believe that, right? And be like, yeah. But then I would like throw something out from that YouTube video that was like the atheist Bible study and be like, yeah, but you know, the ark wasn't actually big enough to hold all those animals, then he'd be like, well, actually, the measurement in the Bible isn't like been scientifically proven yet. We don't know how big it actually could have been.
Funny because they didn't use feet back then.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh, crap. Maybe that Bible study was wrong that those people didn't believe in it. So that like softened me up.
The atheist one that you were reading?
Yeah, or watching. It was a YouTube video series. That they still make stuff, but they get copyright claimed a lot. Regardless.
All that Pokemon.
Nintendo.
I knew Pokemon was an atheist tool.
Evolution. Was it not clear?
Yeah. But
Pikachu.
that's what softened me up. And like, there were some weeks where I had the option to not go, and I found myself going, and I started to question, why am I doing that? And that just like softened me up even more. And finally I went to Falls Creek. But I didn't go for like the full week because we had the Nationals tournament, which we went on. So I went for like four out of the 5 days, and we left early.
Was that your junior year?
No, that was sophomore. No, that was junior.
I didn't go nationals. Your sophomore year.
Yeah, you're right.
Senior year.
Crap. Never mind. I did that for a whole year. Then I went to Falls Creek. I'm getting my timeline screwed up. And that's when I decided, yes, I am a Christian. And I let God into my heart. And I asked him, and I did all those things. Wow, it sounds like I'm breezing through a lot. I did all the steps. You know what I'm talking about. And that's when I like got saved. Yeah.
Did you make the Bible?
No. Wait, what?
Did you make the Bible?
No?
Not quite. Wasn't quite to that tier.
Yeah.
Or age.
Yeah. I was born a bit after
Copyright, 3580.
that. Yeah.
5 AD.
Probably. a
So
little
that's how I came to Christ. Through
Proud of you,
logic
Harrison.
and Jason Lee.